Up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you 250 miles above your imagination from the International Fake Station. I'm up here with my co-pilot and good friend, Something Wong, who is here to make sure that we are flying straight and level across this beautiful plane of ours. Look at all these beautiful people we've got in here tonight. Who we got? We got Jehovah's lovely daughter, Barbara, of course. And we got Maria Walker. Brad and Tasha is here. It always makes me think of Boris and Natasha. Every time I see you guys, I always think Brad and Boris and Natasha, Moose and Squirrel. You remember those guys, right? No, probably not. You're too young. Ron Holtz is here with us tonight. Sean Alke. We got Saddle Bum with us. Let's see, Elite 333. You can hear probably in the background here. That's Something Wong. He's cooking his noodles up for supper tonight. A little bit of lo mein. You know how it goes up here in space. It's voted one of the best things to nourish yourself in space, along with some delicious Tang instant breakfast drink. That's right. Let's see, Maria Walker's here, Sean Alke, Barbara the Nail Pusher. Got Next Chapter with us, Saddle Bums here, Shifty Eyes Shady, Maria Walker, Psyop within a Psyop, Melodome. What's happening, brother? Let's see, Maria Walker. There was people singing the song. I think I saw Benny Boy in here earlier, and I laughed because he was singing the song from the Reefer Roulette show. That was funnier than hell. I thought that was cute. All this shit. The True Fuse going on. Anson Howard here. Angela Baby Carson. Holy crap. There's Benny Boy. There he is. Wrong chair he was. He says, there it is. There it is. He's good job. Good job. All right. So we got a good amount of people in here too. So man, it never ends, man. I keep seeing the the damage control videos coming out, and we've talked about this before, where we've seen these people that just come up out of nowhere, and there's a video like who is the character Veritas that made the almost 8-hour long documentary on flat earthers, and it was supposed to be, it was in no way at all objective. 8 hours, I thought that was bad enough. And then we had Sabina Hassenfelder coming out with hers, Why Flat Earthers Scare Me. We never did find out why they scare her, but she did lay a lot of crap out there. And now I saw this other guy here today. Oh my God, is that only due to what I'm doing here? Oh my God, why does that look so terrible? It's because this thing's come up and said that my connection is really shitty here tonight, and I don't know what to do about it. So I apologize if there's some resolution issues going on. I don't know what I can do about that. Maybe on my end, maybe it's trying to push through more than what we can, because it looks good on the StreamYard end. It's over here on the other end that it's not looking good. Let's see what happens if I just change the resolution a little bit. Does that do anything? Does that do anything at all? This is crazy. I'm going to put it back to 720. Okay, let's see if that did anything for it at all. No, it sure as hell didn't. Wow, I tell you what, I'm going to have to do I don't know what's going on with my connections and all this shit. It might be due to the hurricane. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll clear up. Who knows what's going on? I'm not going to be on here real late tonight because I got shit I got to do tomorrow. So anyway, let's see what we've got going on here. So anyway, as I said, I went across and I saw this video come up today and it's really quite well done as far as being set up with chapters and the like. And it's got these chapters listed by timestamp in it. Let me go ahead and bring this up so y'all can see it. This is the channel. The channel is Ben Farr. And this is why millions of people think Earth is flat. Okay. And he's in his description here, it says flat Earth theory is growing at a fast pace, with up to 1 in 3 people now doubting that the Earth is actually round. I think it's more than that. I really do. I think it's more than that. Conspiracy theories are on the rise. And what is a conspiracy? I mean, it's just that people believe something that's not true. They're immersed in a belief system. What the fuck is the conspiracy theory there? That there are those in high places that wish to keep perpetrating this lie? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's very evident. It's very evident, as we see in the fact that there is this video being put out and many more just like it. And as most of you well-seasoned will note, that you'll find a lot of his assumptions to be quite erroneous. I commented on this video and I said, I would love to have a discussion with you concerning your biased, slanted view on this. I feel you missed several key points, which makes this video look like more of a desperate attempt to reaffirm an unscientific belief system. And I said, would you be interested in discussing this video live with me? I think it can expand your knowledge as well as show you how erroneous your assumptions actually are. Let me know. And there's been no reaction on that yet. I put that on there earlier today. Let me check back over here and see if this is actually coming up any damn better at all. Let me go to live. My resolution certainly hasn't increased any, and it hasn't showing that my that my signal's gotten any better. But anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll try and endure and see what we can do here. So I think it's just a matter of the rate at which things are going out, as opposed to, because on my StreamYard right here, it's lovely. And then on here, it's not. So wait, what I do? I maximized the wrong screen. How about that? Go figure, right? Oh, let me back this up and let's get into this. So the introduction right off the bat. Let's see.
I've always assumed that everyone knew that the Earth was round because we've sent people to space, we've seen photo evidence, and there's so much science to back it up. But I was wrong. In America,
All right. So just those three things right there. You've been told they sent people to space. You don't really know they've sent people to space, and you've never really thought about it because they've been telling you that shit since you were knee high to a freaking ant. Okay. So you got to go over that. Secondly, well, just listen to him again. Listen.
there's so much science to back it up.
So much science to back it up. Well, there really isn't any science. Okay. We got people that call themselves scientists that are pushing these ideas forth, and people automatically think, well, that means it's science. And what do you mean it's bullshit? These people went to school to learn this nonsense. Oh, well, okay, right. Not good, not good. Anyway.
But I was wrong. In America, flat Earth theory has been growing fast since 2014, to the point that now 1 in 3 young people are questioning if our planet is even round. What? That's insane to me. How did we get here? When I heard this stat, it quickly led me down a rabbit hole, trying to figure out how millions of people could throw thousands of years of science out the window. And now, after looking into it, I'm starting to worry that conspiracies are spreading out of control. But it's not too late. Okay.
Conspiracies are spreading wildly out of control. Why would it be wildly out of control? When you get into it and you start looking into it, which you won't because you just appeal to consensus. There's a lot of things you've never questioned. You just took it for granted and didn't even think about it. And yes, you were told you were smart for believing that shit.
I want to explore this theory as in-depth as I can because I've seen a lot of people jumping to dismiss this conspiracy. But I think it's also important to hear everyone out, no matter what they believe in, while sticking to the science. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. And step 1 is figuring out what these people believe. I thought it would be easy to find this online, but oh boy, was I wrong. The first lead I had was a Flat Earther conference that happened in Denver in 2018. I decided I wanted to get straight to the source, so I found their website in an image and then looked for the experts who were speaking at the event. I spent way too long going through these videos and going down this rabbit hole, but I think I finally got the full picture.
And the thing that the Globers do not seem to understand, if they will go up higher and higher and higher, you know, if there was a horizon, it would have to be below you.
This shows us, if anything, that trickery is afoot.
All right, let me paint you a picture of an Earth, unlike anything you've seen before.
Now pay very close attention to the imagery that is used in this nonsense. How many of y'all think that's anything close to what we live on? They always want you, they always want to push it that oh, look at these guys, they believe that there is this disk in outer space. Secondly, he's showing that there's a bigger sun and a smaller moon. I think they're the same size. It's floating in space with these stars just traveling by. So keep in mind, this is the imagery, and people are really focused on imagery.
Imagine the globe that you might already know flattened down into a pancake. This pancake is still, not moving, not floating, and not orbiting around the sun. What we know of Earth is fake, a lie spread by the government and NASA and the world. In the middle of the Earth is the North Pole, and Antarctica is on the edges. But Antarctica isn't what you've been taught. It's actually a 200-foot tall ice wall surrounding the Earth to prevent you from falling off the edges.
As he shows a freaking video of this ice wall. Neat.
Around this edge is a significant military presence, potentially funded by NASA, keeping you from knowing the truth.
Potentially funded by NASA? Who has ever said that it's funded by NASA? Don't you wow. Jesus.
Above the ice wall is a dome that's designed to encase the entire planet. Think of this like the Truman Show, where we're all held in a glass case, like a snow globe. This dome keeps the air in, allowing us to live, and it also holds the stars, the sun, and the moon. On the topic of the sun and the moon, let's look at them a bit closer. Flat earthers have taken photos that show the sun setting in front of the clouds. If the sun...
Well, and that's easily explained as well, just through perspective. But nevertheless, this whole depiction that they're putting forth, listen to how slanted this whole thing is.
Sun was outside our planet, how would the clouds end up behind it? Instead, the sun and the moon are inside the dome, circling the North Pole, with the sun acting like a spotlight, heating the areas it shines on. And this alone proves why the moon is visible to us during the day. Okay, this is sounding pretty good, but this theory is harder to pin down than I thought it would be, because it turns out there isn't just one flat Earth theory.
Now we got people saying, the Earth is flying up through space at a gazillion billion miles an hour and shit. I think that kind of petered out. I haven't thankfully heard any more about that shit.
There are a few collective groups, like the Flat Earth Society and the Flat Earth International Conference, but there are also thousands of independents, each with their own opinions and theories about the Earth. Flat Earth is complicated, and it's always changing. Thankfully, though, this means they've done their due diligence. They've done experiments to prove to us that the Earth is flat.
So I want to address that. So it's always controversial. It's always changing, and there are differing opinions. Now let's take a look at the heliocentric model, which went since the time of Copernicus from 3 million miles away up to 105 million miles away over time, back to 93 million miles away. Okay. That went from, and then the introduction of a Big Bang theory that was done in the 20th century. So we've got the introduction of a Big Bang theory, and then you've got the controversy between Newtonian and Einsteinian gravity. You know, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? Of course, we're finding things out when we look into stuff and we go, hey, you know what? This doesn't work out. But so what does that mean? That means we have to go and look at it more extensively, doesn't it? This guy's really painting a picture. I mean, he's not bad. I mean, but there's a whole crew behind this. There's a whole crew behind this Ben Farr thing.
Okay, so first I present to you this image of Chicago's skyline from across Lake Michigan. According to flat earthers, this photo wouldn't be possible if the Earth was round, because the skyline is 60 miles away, and the curvature of the Earth would make it impossible to see the skyline. But that's not all. In a vlog, this guy, Daryl, took a flight from North Carolina to Seattle. On this flight, he brought a level, because if the Earth was round, the pilots would have to compensate for the curvature by dipping the nose of the plane down very slowly. But on his flight, the level stayed level. The Earth is flat. No. I did my best. I can't do this.
Wait. What? The level lies? What? Does the level lie? It should be just a slight upward pitch on that airplane. There's a slight upward pitch. That has to. Okay.
This is also archaic and wrong, and it's driving me crazy. Even if this theory of the level was correct, the curve would be so minimal that it would hardly make an impact.
But over a distance, it would have to make an impact. 1 mile every 2 minutes. 1 mile every 2 minutes is how far? At 35,000 feet. Come on.
And these photos, they literally prove that the Earth is round. Otherwise, you'd be able to see the whole buildings, not just the tops. But it gets worse. because they've even proved themselves wrong with some of these experiments.
Oh boy.
Let me show
Here we go. Here we go. And just you wait. They got another arsenal of this shit coming. Watch here.
you. This guy here cut a hole in a board and held it up 17 feet from sea level, and then had his friend drive far away, shining a powerful light towards the hole. If he held his light at 17 feet, theoretically it should come through the hole because the earth is flat. And I'll just play the clip for you.
Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's as we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting.
I can disprove flat earth all I want, but that's just not why we're here. So
No, you can't really. You can't. Because there are scientific impossibilities involved with your globe that you cannot defend. That's just straight up how it goes, baby. That's how it is.
Well, let me share one more example in case you're still not convinced. Okay, so I live in the flight path of my local airport, right? Anytime I see a plane flying overhead, my girlfriend and I have a game where we try and guess to see where it's going. So I have this app on my phone called Radar Box, and it lets me see the planes that are flying overhead. When I look in the app, though, there are some paths that have intense curvature flying over me, like this flight from California to London. Look at the curve on that thing.
That's because it's a Mercator projection, you moron. Look at the size of the freaking countries, for Christ's sake. Are you kidding me? It's a Mercator projection. And how come there's no fucking curve, big curve like that going north-south routes? Oh, never did wonder that, did you? Well, I would suggest, Mr. Farr, that you go on and start and look into maps a little bit, for Christ's sake. Oh, look at this curve. That proves that it's a ball. Really? How come there's no north and south and you're looking at a damn Mercator projection? Holy crap.
And it's literally flying over Canada. If you look at literally any flight, though, they all have curves because the Earth is a globe, and the fastest path is not a straight line.
Because that's how you have to bend a straight line to go onto your Mercator projection, you moron. Holy crap.
You'd expect on a map like this. The truth is, planes just wouldn't fly this far out of their way to prove that the Earth is flat. It's way too expensive to do something like that. So yeah, they're not covering anything up. The Earth is round.
You showed a Mercator projection and then put flight routes on it to prove in your mind that it's a globe somehow? What? Draw that out on an AE map and see what that looks like. Oh, look, they don't curve up and go down. Dumbass.
I found myself in a
northern hemisphere flights, and I'm using the word hemisphere as the word that they use. Anything north of the equator, nothing crosses the equator. But everything from the south does. All your southern flights have to cross the equator. Stop.
A weird spot at this point in my research because I think I always assumed that we knew the Earth was round for a while, but I wanted to know where this theory even came from. Going back to ancient civilizations, they had a lot of theories about our world. Some of these civilizations thought that we were on a disk that was floating in the ocean. Others thought that we were on the top of a cylinder, and others thought that we were on a stack.
There were people that thought we were on the top of a cylinder? Who thought that? I would like to see some citation on that right there. I want to know what culture thought that we were on a cylinder, on the top of a cylinder.
Of flat disks, because to be able to see the curve of the Earth, you need to climb up 35,000 feet like you're in a plane. And they had no context to know that the Earth isn't flat. So knowing that, I assumed that this was the common theory for most of history. But I was wrong. Back in 350 BCE, Aristotle was watching the stars.
Here we go. Jace Ventura too. I don't know. Why don't you come up and try to cure it? Maybe you can give me some actual proof of a globular Earth. Do you think you would be able to do that, Jace? You could just come right up here and give me some actual proof of a globe. Why don't you go ahead and do that? Maybe you can cure it. Maybe you are the Madame Curie of the 21st century. Give it a shot, man. Maybe you are the Jonas Salk of, curing this malady. There's got to be some point in your mind where you get that logic will kick in, Jace. There's got to be a time. Oh dear, what? I've graciously invited you to come up. I've graciously invited you to come up. All you have to do is click the link, come on up, and you look. There's two of us here.
I'm on the show. Look at that. I'm on the show.
Ass hats.
What's up, Dave?
Here we go with Aristotle. What's going on, Cookie Monster? Really?
I couldn't help to come in and say hello, and hopefully somebody else will come in and say hi to us too.
Somebody might come in. We'll see. We'll see.
Watching them, he noticed that they spun around the sky in a circular pattern, which led him to believe that the Earth was actually a sphere. 100 years later,
so he just saw the stars going by in the sky and said, you know what? I think I must be on a sphere.
It didn't occur to him that it was a circle. He came up with a sphere, not a circle.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And people know this for some reason because of reasons. Ain't it cool how all this shit is stuff you can't check yourself? You can't go you can't go see it for yourself. None of that. No, we go up in space all the time and shit. Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Dave. How we doing?
Good, Roger. How are you tonight, my man?
Oh, I'm beautiful. This is an interesting show we're watching.
Oh, hi, Raja.
I heard we had a guest that wanted to come in and show us what a globe was right quick. Is he still out there?
Jace said he'd. Well, go ahead, Jace. Come on up. All you got to do is click the link, bro.
It's easy. I just did it.
Yeah, Roger did it. Ryan did it.
So you don't have a echo.
Easy peasy Japanesey. All you got to do is just come on up here. We're looking for a proof of the globe. I've been looking for one. And so far, they've all fell flat. See what I did there?
Then all we need is a couple of these.
That's right. Or even Benny Boy put the link down there in the chat for you, too.
Look at that.
Press the button, Beesh.
Yeah, click here. Click here.
So yeah, old Aristotle, he was looking up there and he saw the stars going around and he said, you know what? I think the Earth must be a sphere. And they're saying that's science. Okay. That's science right there. Some guy back in Greece looked up and saw the stars and said, yep, I think I'm on a ball. And he said, oh, look how bright you are.
another philosopher proved this while he was watching the sun on the summer solstice. By measuring the position of the sun above him and in another faraway city, he assumed that the Earth must be curved. And using that data, he was able to calculate the circumference of the Earth.
So wait a minute. He went in with already to reaffirm his belief that it was a globe by measuring shadows, not to prove that it was a globe, but by using some technique and assuming things about the sun and sun rays, was able to come up with this. That we're talking about Aaron Crusty Knees.
Oh yeah, don't forget his faithful sidekick. What was it called again?
Feces.
Oh, there it was. Yeah, there was something like that.
Feces, yes. Feces del Grande was his name.
Delicious.
Del Toro. Feces del Toro.
Feliz Navidad.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So yeah.
Taco Bell.
So he went out there and he did this stuff and he measured that. And so he went in and said, so the Earth is the Earth. I assume the Earth is a globe. So now we're going to find out how big of a globe it is. Okay, there you go. Well, that's science, you see.
Well, did they say he was a philosopher to start with? Not a scientist, a philosopher, and he had an assumption to go with it. So those two must equivocate into what science is and the scientific method. So philosophy and assumptions are how you prove things, right? Okay.
Well, that and then if we assume that these fucking characters actually existed, and if we assume that these characters actually did what they say, you know,
Yeah, I would walk 500 miles.
For 5,000 fucking years, and it's okay. So.
Nice.
I would walk 500
miles.
Yeah, right.
Straight
And count every step while I go. Ah, shit! I lost count.
I only know the second part.
Halfway on his journey, feces found a marijuana plant. And
Well, I heard they communicated with smoke signals at one point in time.
It's like a cloud blowing over there. There's no wind at all.
Right.
So case closed, right? The Earth is round, and we know that for the rest of history. But no,
Case
says
closed.
this one teenager from the UK in the 1830s, modern science is wrong. There is no proof.
Modern science is wrong. Wait a second. You were talking about Greek dudes in ancient Greece. How is that modern in any way whatsoever?
It wasn't modern.
I guess modern science means old scientists that are dead and are unalived or whatever.
Yeah.
They weren't any scientists, though. They were the philosophers that were walking through the desert. Like, I think it's
believe it or not.
Good God.
That the Earth is round, and this is all a big conspiracy. So he writes a book that ends up becoming the foundation for flat Earth theory. You might be as surprised as I was when you heard this. Flat Earth theory is less than 200 years old. In the 50s,
less than 200 years old, huh? Less than 200 years old. How do you know that? Because somebody started. Because when they started making a push toward
the flat Earth theory, he's saying. Oh,
yeah. Because when they started making a push towards a push for the globe hard, that people were, kind of going, no, what the hell are you people doing here? What are you doing? No. How are you getting people to believe this shit? Right? It's like, wow. Modern science was given to us by ancient Greek dudes. Oh, okay.
You like play it in their hands.
Yeah, and also doesn't follow the scientific method at all either. It's just, they're old people from a long time ago, and it's written, so you just got to buy this shit. That's how it rolls,
That's what philosophy is.
They never rely on history at all, do they? No.
No.
Why would they do that? Why would they do that? There wasn't no Jesuits pushing this shit. Come on now.
Small groups of flat earthers wanted to spread their message. So they decided to create the Flat Earth Society as a home for people who didn't fall for the fake science. And that was the big push. Thousands of people started to believe in this theory from that point on. And I guess that makes sense. Back then, they didn't have the same level of access to information that we have now. But wait, if that's the case, how do people still believe this in 2024?
Wait. Still believe this in 2024. Y'all, come on. I used to believe this shit. I used to believe the globe and all that. And I'm sure most of you all did too. In fact, I guarantee you all did. And it wasn't until you came to this realization that you were able to, this is what gets me. You still believe the Earth is flat? What do you mean still believe the Earth is flat? Do you think I transported here from 1400?
You might have to.
Oh, you're not 90? Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you think I just got off of Columbus's ship or some shit?
I thought you were still wet behind the ears too, bro. No,
were you on the Santa Maria or the Pinto, or which one were you on?
You know what that does? You know what that does indicate, though, if you really deep down look at it, means that you too once thought it was flat until you were convinced it was a globe.
Maybe,
right?
Could be.
Because surely they can't logically be thinking that you transported here from the past. So what they're indicating by saying you still believe the Earth is flat means that they once believed it was flat until they got brainwashed.
That means he believes that they proved it was a ball. That's what he thinks. But we know that's not true, right?
Yeah, I didn't start believing it was flat until I looked into the globe. That's when I started like, wait a minute, this doesn't add up. There's things that they can't explain. One hole leads to another.
What they're doing is they're targeting the people that are on the fence, and this is what they're worried about. Okay, The people that are starting to question it. So
We're
they're
doing
putting
a good
a
job.
hard push toward it. They're putting a hard push toward it. And this is one of those authoritative content pushed to the top that you run into. Looks cool, man.
So he's a science communicator. That's what he is.
There's Mike, Truther's Hour of Comedy's in the house. What's happening, Mike?
What's up, dude?
Put all your links and shit in, brother. Oh, you do that, you guys. Come on. That's how we do it.
I guess I'm starting to realize that my feelings are kind of conflicted about flat earthers. My whole life, I believed that only people who were less intelligent would believe this crap, and that they refused to or just simply couldn't see the truth. But I guess I'm realizing how lucky I am. We all have the internet at our fingertips now, and we can prove
Hold on. How lucky I am? For what?
anything we
I
want.
feel lucky
with a
too.
quick search.
Huh?
I feel lucky, really lucky. I work at Walmart, dude.
For sure. What's
You're
not
lucky to be alive and get home every day.
Right? What's not to love? So he feels really lucky. We have the internet right there, and all you got to do is look on Google and ask it, hey, Google, is the Earth a globe? And it'll say, no, you stupid shit, it's not. Here, watch McToon.
Search on our phones. For me, that led to a natural curiosity. I want to know more. I want to know how things work and what led to them being the way they are, which is the reason why this channel exists, my natural curiosity to find out about things. But it's not that people who believe in flat Earth theory are less smart. It's just that they don't necessarily know how to filter the information that they're seeing online or in resources to know if it's true. And that's what I want to explore more.
Well, wait a second. We're not.
He's making the assumption that we're all idiots. We don't.
Look, man, we're not allowed to filter through it ourselves because you already admitted that you put the more authoritative content to the top. And that's what we're saying is that the authoritative content is horse shit. Okay. That's what they're not getting about this. And this guy, oh, you have the information right at the tips of your fingers. Yeah, we're not trusting the sources from the information. Don't you understand?
We're not buying what you're selling us. Yeah.
That's right. It's yeah. This guy's a jackass.
Gullible is the word you're looking for. Oh, I got to get back to Walmart. I'll keep listening to you guys.
All right. Have a fun
night,
time.
gentlemen. You guys enjoy it. It looks like fun.
All right, bro.
I feel like I'm starting to finally get flat Earth, but I'm not understanding what the path is that people follow to become flat earthers until it finally clicked. This is bigger than the shape of the planet. This is where we need to start to look into conspiracy theories and how they work as a whole. Remember?
Okay. Conspiracy theories and how they work as a whole. Now, this is going to really give you some shit right here.
They always go right into the psychology of why we're so dumb instead of actually looking at our evidence, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't get that, bro. I don't get that. Does anybody get that? Does anybody get why they do that? I really would like to know.
It's projection.
Yeah, of course.
They want you to think that your psychopathy is psychologically sound. That's what they want to do. It's a form of gaslighting. See, all these other people believe this stuff. You don't believe it because you just want to feel like you're special. No, you were told you were special because you did believe this shit. That's the whole reality of it. You think about it. Look, mommy, I learned my planets in a row. And look, it's Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Wow, you're really smart, Ryan. I bet you're going to be an astronaut one day or a scientist, And, you were thought to be very intelligent and told that you were very intelligent for this shit. And they reaffirmed it in you. So who is it that's trying to be special by believing something ridiculous? Really? It's, again, Luciferian. It's the opposite. Who's the fucking crazy ones? It's the ones that believe this unscientific nonsense. While at the same time saying, oh, you deny science. Look at you. You're an idiot. Because most people know. No, you don't. You were told. And if you really are honest with yourself, and if you look at it from the roof, you never had any reason to believe that you were on a globe. Never. It was told to you.
Cool.
It was told to you. Every one of your questions, hand waved, dismissed away, and given some stupid answer. And you just bought into it. Well, why don't I fly off? Well, because of gravity. What's gravity? And they can never explain it to you.
Fly off.
They can never really tell you. It's just
obviously they've got some element that attracts everything else towards itself.
it is. It's
I've never seen it, so.
unobtainium.
Yeah.
It's that unobtainium shit. Yeah, that's it. God.
The video I showed you of the guy who brought a level onto the plane to prove that the earth was flat. While I was watching that video, I decided to read through the comments. I know, it probably shouldn't have. I guess I just love torturing myself with crazy YouTube drama. But what?
Because you look so smart, though, you know, the glasses and all. Yeah.
While I was looking, I saw that he'd responded to a comment telling him that this was not proof that the earth was flat. His response was, "You sound vaccinated. There's got to be more here."
I have to agree. You know, if level proof.
Well, that is a good question, though. That is a good next question is, did you get vaccinated?
And of course they did. Of course they did. I mean, these guys, when they're all in, they're all in. I mean, they are. They think, and this is, in the truth of it, it's like I'll see these people and ask them and say, well, you know, they'll say, hey, we got to get rid of these guns. Well, how do you propose to get rid of the guns? Well, they never want to come out and say, oh, we're have guys with guns come and take
I know.
them.
Let's hire a bunch of crazy people to run around and pretend to shoot people. That'll work.
Well, no, that's so they can get their legislation. And what they say is when you ask them, how do you plan on doing it, right? The one thing they always go to is what they call a mandatory buyback. They think that it's okay if they force you to sell your rifle for a basement bargain price or something, right? Or even, why are you forcing me to sell it in the first place? Forcing me to sell it is not, that's how they disguise confiscation. You see, they give it a different name. But when it comes down to it, and I'm going to say, okay, well, what if I don't want to sell mine? But it's mandatory. So I don't care. I know what the definition of mandate is, so that doesn't mean anything. I decline the offer.
Yeah, no thanks.
You know what they're going to do. They're going to send men to my house not armed with sticks, not armed with swords. They're going to be armed with guns. Okay, so what's the hypocrisy? You're wanting to use guns to take guns, and then what? Those people give it up? Oh no, the government gets to have guns. Do you trust the government? Well, fuck
The only thing that you would solve by doing that is you just make it easier for the criminals to get guns and easier for the criminals to use them on you, because now you're not going to have it.
Here's where the real in the brain is. You say, okay, so you want government to do this, and they'll say yes, and then you ask them, do you trust government? And they'll say no.
If they can only take away the guns from the criminals, I would agree to it.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I mean, wait a second. You want the very people you don't trust to disarm you.
Yeah, right.
Wow. I can't even understand that. I heard this woman, I went down to lobby day in Richmond, and everybody went down there armed, which you're allowed to do.
I've seen a video about that. I've seen a bunch of guys just lined up all over town, like with guns, in front of businesses and everything, saying, if you touch anything, you loot, we'll shoot first. And
well, this was during lobby day. This was when our delegates, all you can walk up and talk to them and shit. And,
right. Oh yeah.
There was a lot of gun legislation on the table. And there was a lot of us Virginians went to Richmond. I think there was 20,000 of us there, with all armed, including me. And they said That's where I met Brian Young down there.
What are they going to say when everybody's carrying
a woman going down there? A woman going down there with us. We went on buses, because it's down in Richmond. So there was a bus service around here that was giving rides to it. So I signed up and went. And this woman on the bus, she was against gun confiscation, but if Donald Trump asked her to give up her guns, she would. And I went, oh my God, wow. You got to be shitting me. You would give up your guns because of who asked you to do it?
I was going to say, why would that question even come up?
I know,
unless
right?
you're on the other side milking it.
Oh, listen, man. These people, it's scary. And it's not going to get no better.
Most of the people who attended the Flat Earth Convention in Denver agreed that other conspiracy theories were true, like that the deep state is real, politicians are paid actors, and that the moon landing was faked. So when you start to apply the lens of conspiracy theory to—
Hold on a second. What about those are all confirmed. Those are all confirmed. Politicians are actors, right? Yep. Listen to the three things he says.
Yep. He's wrong about all of that.
It's amazing.
He is young, though. Maybe
theories were true, like that the deep state is real.
Yes, the deep state is real. So you don't think that there are shadow elements within the government that actually control the government? You guys actually think that the president is the head of the fucking executive branch? And really, that's what you really think?
You see,
you
that
don't know anything about George Soros. You don't know anything about the UN. You don't know anything about the WEF. You don't know anything about the Trilateral Commission. You don't know anything about the Bilderberg Group. Come on. Okay. So that one is real, confirmed.
Politicians are paid actors.
Politicians are paid actors, up to and including having Ronald Reagan.
That's Trump. Just the one that gave it away, right?
Is Donald Trump not got an IMDb page? Is he not a reality TV star? Did he not show up on the WWF? Isn't he good friends with Vince McMahon? Okay, so yes, these guys are actors. And as I have told you before, they act to appear as though they're like you. Okay, so that you'll trust them. They're trained to act in a manner that gets you to like them.
Yeah, like did you see that video where they show him walking by and touching that Prince guy and patting him on the side? And supposedly nobody was supposed to touch him, and he just walks by and does it on purpose. So it's just a joke. You know what I mean?
Like, of course.
All that stuff that they say, they're just all dressed up in their acting costumes and
hair
they
and
get together every year or twice a year to do some videos, and that's about all they do. That's
Hair and Song says Ronald Reagan was literally an actor. I know. That's what I'm saying, right?
But what she doesn't understand is that no, they're all actors. If you look them all up, they all have IMDb pages.
Yep, they're there to they're there to gain your trust. Like this Donald Trump guy. I mean, when I watched that show, The Apprentice, I was like, I wouldn't even want to fucking work with that guy. I wouldn't want to work for him. What an asshole. That's what I thought. I thought, what an asshole. And then everybody's all like, look at what a great, wonderful man he is and everything. And I'm like, well, no, not really. He's just an asshole rich guy, just like all the rest of them. But he puts out a good PR campaign. He's a good salesman, and you're buying the fucking sales pitch.
Right,
Look, hook, line, and sinker. Hook, line, and sinker. And that's all any of them
he
are.
is a real businessman, and that's the believable part of who he really is, then I could say you could be proud of that, but don't be proud of him for the other part, because obviously that's how he got himself in there.
But he's not a brilliant businessman. Didn't he file bankruptcy several times?
Well, I mean, all businessmen do when they have to, right?
Well, a good businessman doesn't get himself into that.
Well, I would agree, but I mean,
do you think he made good?
What businesses actually play by the rules? I mean, well, they do play by the rules legally, but
show you how he fixed shit for you. Okay, here's how he fixed it for you, right? And you're reaping the benefits of it now through hyperinflation. Okay, he said, I can't help but notice that you, the American people, are economically suffering for a problem that we created on purpose. And so we're here to help. And what we've decided to do is take out a massive fluctuating rate, high interest loan in your name. And we're going to give each of you $300. Okay. We're going to borrow $6.3 trillion. You get $300. Oh, and by the way, you're accountable for the entire amount of the loan. You're welcome. Now, where the fuck do people thinking all this damn inflation and shit's coming from? Oh, I'm the father. If it wasn't for me, that virus that isn't real would have spread all over the place. I'm the father of the vaccine. I fast tracked that shit, blah, blah, blah. Now we're finding out, what are you seeing all over the place on social media? You're seeing now shit that we were getting kicked off social media for a year ago. Because what? Oh, the conspiracy theorists were right again. They were right again. When are these people going to figure out they maybe ought to start taking what we're saying a little more serious than they do? That's why I say there's not really people that are acting this way as this guy putting this video out. Most people, when they're actually seeing what's going on, they're going, oh, wow, maybe, yeah, huh? Maybe I better start listening. And that's one of the things, people are actually waking up. What's happening, Disclord?
Hey, I just had to mute YouTube. Just saw you on. Wanted to come by and listen.
Mm-hmm. This is about better than halfway through, so.
And that the moon landing was faked. So when you start to apply the
Okay, so there again, is there anybody that really actually believes that the moon landing is real? I think when you show most people the silly bullshit, that very quickly they realize that that was bullshit. The way they've been kicking the can down the road for the last 50 years, the way they keep trying to, oh yeah, we're gonna go. Look, we got this ready to go again. You know, we haven't been since 1973. Isn't that the last time we went? 72, something like that. Yeah. Nobody wonders what. Oh, we lost the technology, and this is a painful process to build it back. And
Yeah,
that's their excuse.
They accidentally
Yeah.
work. No worries.
Meanwhile, we're looking at shit saying, how does a rubber seal work in the vacuum of space? It doesn't.
I sent you a video.
A rubber seal? Where?
Yeah, right. Oh, it's really good engineering. Come on, get out of here. Those things that have to be replaced all the time.
The lens of conspiracy theory to flat Earth, it all starts making sense. Let's say that there's a guy named Mark. Mark works hard, trying his best to earn a living for his family. But no matter what he does, he feels out of control. The pandemic kept him from work.
This is cringe. This is fucking cringe. Okay.
This is where Duffy got the idea, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I mean, when you listen to this whole thing,
he took it right from his script, man. What a douchebag.
This is the script, not his script. It's the script, which you got to understand. This is from top down. This is coming.
Does that say McToon on there somewhere?
No. God, who knows? Yeah, this is top down. It's not his script. It's the script. That's one of the things I noticed with this. Oh, it's because these people were frustrated and they were locked down. And no, it's because they were locked down and they started looking into shit and they started doing research and they had time to actually think, and it backfired on you. That's what happened.
Working. Interest rates and inflation made his life more expensive, and he feels unrepresented and uncared for by the government, which leads Mark to start questioning and doubting the institutions, the science, and the government that we all know as fact.
Whoa, no. We found out that what we thought was fact was indeed not fact. We found out, which a lot of us already knew, but what was found out by many other people was that their government was full of shit, and that what they thought could be trustworthy was not trustworthy, but on the other hand, it was nefarious instead. Now that's the reality of it. Come on, kid.
So when he gets recommended a video on YouTube showing him flat earth theory, he decides to take a look. Now, he doesn't believe.
We already know that by the time people were locked down, the censorship on flat earth was already in place. So if that were true, then what he would have found was that flat earth would have automatically put up the crap videos of McKeegan and Toon and the rest of the cast of usual suspects, right?
Leave it right away. So he goes and does his own research. And he can tell that the people who are making these videos are doing their homework. They sound confident. They know their science. They're doing experiments, and Mark starts trusting them. But he knows that this belief that he's starting to form is not popular. So he keeps quiet. But slowly he starts to share his findings with other people.
Oh,
and
no.
oh boy, is it a train wreck. He gets kicked out of his local church. His own family starts to disown him, and his boss tells him to look for another job.
Oh my God, this is it. He's having a psychological breakdown. This is what it says. It's caused a psychological breakdown, and this is why he's going to go. Come on, y'all.
All that Mark has left is flat earth. This whole time he was right. No one did have good intentions to help him. But the flat earthers, they accept him. Man, I wish the story was made up. But Mark's story is a combination of a lot of stories from people who believe in flat earth theory.
Yeah, it's a little bits and pieces and fabrication of different people's stories all woven into one fucking story to fit your narrative. Yes, people get triggered about this, and maybe you ought to look at that aspect of it. Why do people get so fucking triggered over that subject? They get more triggered over that than they do over, well, not so much anymore because there's more and more people. But I mean, you initially go up and say something to a normie about that, and they in the past I've had them just get outright pissed off right off the bat. And it's like, wait a second, why would that bother you so bad? Does that affect your daily world? Does that affect your daily life? No, not a bit. So what's the real psychopathy that's behind that whole globe, and why it pisses you off when somebody tells you it's not a globe? That's what you need to look into.
It's no wonder why most flat earthers just don't tell anyone about it. Conspiracies thrive off of doubt. Doubt that leads to questioning and research, if you can call it that. And the truth is, if you don't have perspective or knowledge, flat earth theory can sound accurate because it sounds like they know what they're talking about. This clip from Joe Rogan sums it up pretty well.
The problem with...
Right, okay. So this here it is. We're going to bring in the Joe Rogan. There's our authoritative source.
Oh boy, I can't wait.
YouTube videos is you can say things, you can use big words, you can sound articulate and smooth, and you're unchecked. But if you did that in front of an expert and you showed them that, along the way they go, stop, that's not true. So people who don't have any education, and then they watch one of these YouTube clips, they start actually believing that this stuff makes sense because it's unchecked.
The people who are pushing flat earth online make it seem like they're scientists. They have a hypothesis, they do experiments, and they form their own conclusions. But
oh, wait a second. If you follow the scientific method, isn't that science? And what he's saying right there, right again, with this always appeal to authority, only the authoritative figure. This is the theme, the underlying theme with this.
But they're missing some very important steps in the scientific method. Like, I don't know, doing background research or
following the scientific method like we do. Every time I've asked a Glober to show me the science behind their stupid fucking thing, the only thing they can ever show me is some math equation or point at the fucking sky. Yeah, like Ryan says, oh, look up there. It's like, dude, where's the science? Show me the science that's actually involved with this. And they can't. They think science is whatever somebody in a white coat says, you know?
On the TV screen.
And for God's sake, math is not science. I wish they would stop with that.
And God didn't make math, men did. Just remember that. So that's why it's not perfect. And that's why it's not, yeah. God might have been a mathematician, but we invented the silly idea of using numbers.
It was a way to communicate quantification. That's all.
It has its use, but it doesn't nullify science, and it doesn't nullify the truth. Right.
Right. It's just a language, basically. And this is what, and it does. It pisses me off to no end is when they keep, well, math is reality. No, it's not. Math is just math. Okay. And it's, again, gigo, garbage in, garbage out. It's only as good as what you put into it. And if what you put into it, if some of the ingredients are just hogwash, then the end ingredient is hogwash. That's all. I mean, if I'm making a recipe for a cake and I just guess at a couple of the ingredients and I throw some dill pickle in there and some other fucking bullshit, you know, is my end result going to be a cake? No. I could say it is, but it certainly isn't going to be. Math is garbage.
Analyzing their data or comparing it to popular studies, the things that can actually disprove the science. Because a lot of these theories don't even have data. They only have observations, and if all goes wrong, they fall back on a convenient excuse that the government is lying and that you're indoctrinated. It's
your whole video is showing how indoctrinated you are, because all you've done is appeal to authority throughout the entire thing. Look at Google. Go to what other people say. Okay. And then at the same time, you invoke science. You've not shown any science at all involved with the globe or anything else. You just think that that's taken because that's what people are told. Oh, these people looked up at the sky and that's science. No, it's not. It's not. None of it is.
Textbook.
Some old guy in Greece looked up at the sky and said, oh, I saw those stars go by. That must mean I'm on a globe. No one in the world has ever thought that.
We should stop listening to these greasy motherfuckers.
Grease ballers.
Yes, sir. Cake sandwich. What about hot fudge tuna salad? That's what you're after right there. Oh. Doesn't that sound like a cool name for a band? Hot fudge tuna?
Yeah, it sounds dirty almost.
It does, man. Hot fudge tuna.
They must be nasty.
We're everything your parents ever warned you about.
Conspiracy theory. And truthfully, it's scary because it leads to other, more dangerous conspiracy theories. So what do we do?
Here we go with
How do we fix
dangerous
this?
crap again.
I don't understand. It's dangerous. How we fix this? You can't fix it. Okay. You're never going to fix it. Okay. Because lies can only remain lies for so long. Truth is always going to prevail every fucking time. Okay. There's nothing you can do. And the more and more people are seeing this, and your desperate attempts to try to reaffirm your globe beliefs into people is also very telling. Methinks the lady doth protest too much. But no, it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? If we stop believing, will it quit existing like Tinkerbell? Yeah, that's exactly what. Because the only place this fucking globe actually exists is in your mind, and how it got there was they put it there. They put it in your mind.
To be honest, it feels like an impossible task. Conspiracy theorists are hard to break because deep down they feel like they're correct. Because really, they want to be correct so badly. And
they want to be correct so badly. That's just a desperate thing.
Much?
That's so projecting. I know it. I know it sounds like we're doing it, but
yeah.
I'm telling you, that's projecting big time.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is and this is crazy. I'm gonna look, and we're going over to his channel here in a minute. Look, I wish I'd have thought to do it earlier. I wonder if he made any other videos on such a thing, on flat Earth at all. I don't think he did. I think he just kind of grabs a topic and does a video on it. And I think he's part of YouTube's thing. I really do. There's
Yeah,
this little
he's
award back
another
here.
agent in the whatever you call the force of anti-earthers. I guess they're anti-earthers because they don't want to believe anything's true, do they?
I don't know.
They
I don't
just like to argue with us. It's pretty much all they do.
What's that? J Trig. That's out of the UK. That's another one.
And that's where I think the answer is. There's been a ton of research done looking to find out what makes people break conspiratorial thinking. And what they found is pretty interesting. Appealing to people emotionally doesn't work because they have conviction and connection to their beliefs. So naturally, you'd think you should debate them, prove them wrong once and for all. But no, that also doesn't help, and it actually makes them more firm in their beliefs than if you had approached them emotionally. The problem—
Absolutely. Because once again, when you're trying to reaffirm a belief without any proof, none whatsoever, trying to use the way that my human vision works to try to reaffirm your stupid belief that you live on a ball of water. Yeah, that's a desperate attempt. That's desperate. And so you got to start asking yourself these questions, not who, why. Okay. And it's real simple once you figure it out. Once you figure it out, the reason behind all of this, and there's a reason that there's a 666 encoded into this bullshit everywhere you look. That's exactly right. What do you got there? Calypso. I don't know what that is. Ocean Rule. Oh, lemonade. Oh, is that ain't that hard lemonade now? I don't need that.
The problem ultimately comes down to critical thinking. Nowadays, a lot of people believe that critical thinking is Googling and reading the first results, when in reality, it's bigger than that. It's fact-checking sources, comparing data, and understanding the topic well enough that you form your own conclusions. You can get evidence for anything you believe in with one quick search, but not all of that evidence is equal. So helping people to better understand what they're reading is the real key to breaking conspiracies. Because the more you know about how legit the source is, the more good info you get to help you form your own opinion.
Well, what's the criteria for the source to be legitimate?
You notice the names that he put up there.
Yeah. I mean, what is the source? I mean, how do you decide what's the correct source?
Yeah, we know they just want a government official source, just an official source of some kind.
I know the answer to that. You test it, my friend. That's what you do. And you find
Well,
out.
here's what he's saying. He's not saying at the same time. Okay. You have to compare what other people tell you instead of, hey, take the information, then think for yourself. Think for yourself. Don't worry about, oh, this is a source that says this. Okay. Look at it with your own critical eye. You're allowed to. You're allowed to look at it with your own critical eye. And it's okay if you don't buy it. If you have questions on it. It's okay if you don't take it because of, oh, well, this is so and so, and do you know who they are? I don't give a shit who they are. Because I know that there are institutions put in place to keep me on the farm. Okay? I know that for a fact. So what does it ultimately come down to? It's got to come down to my own common sense. And my own common sense and my own experience and my observation shows me that I live on a stationary, level, topographical plane. And I know that it has to be enclosed. I don't know by what, but it has to be, or I wouldn't be breathing in the air I'm breathing right now to be able to talk to y'all. And you wouldn't be breathing in air to be able to hear me and be alive to hear me and vibrate the molecules of air between your speakers and your ears in order for my voice to reach you.
Yeah, don't forget about on Wednesday, Vicky and Barbara are having their next live stream.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, link chat there for us.
That's Wednesday. I've got Reefer Roulette at that 7:20 on Eastern time. So I don't know if that conflicts or not.
I think they do it really late at night compared to our time. So
Okay.
I think it'll work out if you wanted to stop by. I don't know. I'm sure
Probably will. Probably will. Be pretty cool. I think there's there's pretty good. I think somebody won $75 the other night on Reefer Roulette. So that's pretty cool.
How do you win, and can I get involved?
Yeah. Okay, so there's 3 words that'll be displayed on the top of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere during the course of the conversation, one of us will say one of those words in conversation. And the first person that types in reefer and then the name of the person that said it and the word wins.
Okay, I see.
Okay, well, they don't win. They get into since there's 3 words, so then there's 3 winners, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what we do is then your name goes on a wheel, and one of the slices says carryover. And so then it goes around, and whoever ends up on the wheel wins the pot. Now, if it shows up on carryover, then it means it goes over to the next week with more added to it.
So it's a little mixture of like left, right, center, and something else mixed together, sort of.
Yeah.
Wheel of Fortune. That sounds interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I thought it was about who could smoke the most pot without falling over, but I was I could definitely probably win that one.
No, it's pretty much just
maybe we should host something like that though, Dave.
Yeah. No, it's just basically some potheads talking about whatever topic the wheel picks for us, and there's all kinds of crazy shit on there.
Yeah, I've watched some of it. I was just giving you a hard time, but at the same time, you know.
So yeah, we have a good
I wasn't sure exactly how it worked. I didn't pay attention to that part. I usually come in the middle sometimes, so I'm busy during the day. So my bad.
Next chapter says Reefer Roulette is a highlight of my week. Yeah, that's a Wednesdays nights. Yeah, it picks up for the hump day. Why not? Right?
Not just by following some bogus experiments that ignore important science to prove a point, which is why you probably see a warning underneath this video right now. Because
that's just it. We don't ignore important science. Okay. We do ignore pseudoscience. And apparently you're one of those that doesn't know the difference. Okay. With your little fake glasses and everything to try to look smart.
Because if I'm out here and let's say I'm spewing flat earth theory, they want you to know that there's another popular take that you can easily look into right below.
I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
Yeah, here you go. And is there a date on this? Is there a date on that C-SPAN thing? No, I don't see one.
The first way is by demoting low quality content and promoting more authoritative content. And the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of
your response is to put a box saying, nope, the earth is not flat.
I think
we can't just let people say whatever they want. If someone's saying something that
we can't just let people be saying what they want. Yes, we can. Yes, absolutely we can. Okay.
Can hurt someone and is false, then they need to know that.
How would the earth being a globe or not a globe hurt anyone? How would that be dangerous? How would that hurt anyone at all?
It hurts their feelings.
I don't get how that would hurt anybody. How is it dangerous? Why do they consider it so dangerous? See, that's what you got to look into.
I could tell you the secret to that.
Yeah.
Because it hacks and it incorrects their damn brainwashing that they use the television for. That's why.
Goddamn right. Goddamn right, bro. Yep. That's it.
I wish I had more information on how they exactly do that, but I'm working on it. But I do wish I knew exactly how. But I think it has a lot to do with those patents they put out.
Yeah, it does. It certainly does.
Part about this is that conspiracy theorists will tell you that these are fake. They're almost trying to fact check the fact checks, which goes far beyond flat Earth too. Donald Trump spreads the conspiracy that the media is against him anytime he gets something wrong. Anti-vaxxers tell you that the government is hiding information, and so on and on and on.
Well, there's
and haven't we found in mainstream news here that indeed they have withheld information? Watching the hearings on C-SPAN, they did. Come on, man, what the fuck? Oh, that's just a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. It's a conspiracy, but there ain't no theory involved. I mean, they were dicking with us, Holmes. Come on.
You know, people should go
if
online.
you don't
and
believe
look
what the
at
government
how many conspiracies there are, lawsuits filed every year. There's millions of them. It's insane how many there are. So don't believe it. Don't believe that there's ever usually if there's a conspiracy idea, there's usually something to it. Like people don't just make it up. I mean, come on.
Well, yeah, some do. The ones that want to make other real theories.
Maybe, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think a person would normally just go around telling somebody, you know, I wouldn't go around telling anybody that story if it wasn't true, right? You don't just go around and start spreading a story that didn't really happen to you. I mean, all you have is your witness, bro. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's what I mean.
Well, you got to look at it. It's like, as this starts gaining momentum, you got little people like this one come out of the woodwork with these videos, right? Sabina Hassenfelder, she's got her white plateau to scale me, you know, and you're like, wait a second, what's really going on here? Why is this all coming out of the woodwork now? And if what he's saying is true, then why is it continuing to grow? Obviously, your attempts,
we know
all the attempts to shut it down, all the attempts to reverse it have failed. They have all failed. And they're going to continue to fail. You know, I don't give a shit. You go to Antarctica or where you go, you're still you're failing at every turn. This is why you're so desperate. This is why they've got this whole little thing that they're doing. And you see this guy coming out of the woodwork, these other people coming out of the woodwork. Well, why? Where did your urge to go into this come from?
They're just
other than there must be an interest. Other than there must be an interest, and why would there be an interest if there's nothing to it, right?
It's one or two things, right? It's either getting the clicks because they know everybody's watching it, or he's just one of them. He's an agent, right? And he's getting paid or whatever. Yeah.
See that little thing right there? See that little thing right there on his desk? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, that's what it's about. About clicks, buddy.
Yep.
Is saying, why should you believe the sources you have wholeheartedly? What makes them different from the sources that you deny? But that still leads me back to the big question I wanted to answer. With everything we know and all the science we have, why do millions of people still believe in flat Earth theory? The truth is that the problem might not be as big as you think. Even though a lot of people doubt the science, there's not really...
Look at the fucking imagery. You see the people he's got to show? In his car, it's all beat up and shit. You know, it's like these people are just wackaloos, you know, and it's like, good God, come on.
Much evidence to show that the conspiracy is growing. Flat earthers are using social media and getting louder, but they're not really spreading their message that much. Because the truth is, while it's hard to prove to a flat earther that we live on a globe, thankfully, it's even harder to prove to an everyday person that the earth is flat. So for now, the earth will keep spinning, and unless someone falls off the edges, I think we're okay.
Wow. So unless somebody falls off the edges, I think we're going to be okay.
I guess we're okay then, guys. We're going to be fine.
Jesus Christ.
He's just another muckety muck, ain't he?
Hey, thanks so much for watching this video.
Oh, bite me.
Thank you for watching my millions of people video.
I want to go over to his channel and see what he's got.
It's March 19th of 2000.
Okay, so he's got one on how the Simpsons predicts the future.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Why we can't go to the moon anymore. Oh, that ought to be good.
He's got an excuse for that, huh?
Yeah.
Wait to hear this. I can't wait. I'm kind of excited, actually.
yeah, this is
because this sounds like some kind of video I do. It sounds like a video one of us would do, right?
Yeah, that was shit, right? He says the sad thing is that not one thing he presented was intelligent whatsoever. No, all it was, always always ask Google and use the most popular source. Don't, and I'd be like, holy shit, I mean, it goes right back to, I'm very suspicious all the time. And it's like, when I said that to them in the church, I was like, well, how do you know that Satan hasn't disguised himself as his church? And I could tell by the look on their face, they'd never thought of that. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if I was the most clever deceiver in history, that would be like child's play for me, to disguise myself, get people following me, thinking I'm something that I'm not. Oh, man.
And think about it. You have this opportunity to be taken out of that collection plate and supplying that desire and that need, right? And so therefore you can convince other people, right? You know what I'm saying? And then you get them, you take them to dinner, you spend money on them or whatever, and then you flaunt it and you say, look how nice it is, look how God is good to us, see? And then they want to be part of it, see? And then you, next thing you know, you've got a cult going all around you and you don't even realize it. I mean, think about it. It's not hard to start a cult. It really isn't. It's just you have to be dedicated to your church, but your church can also go the other way and start worshiping the other side of that, which is their own thoughts instead of God's, right?
Well, here's his other ones. We can't go to the moon anymore. Why we can't go to the moon anymore. Holy shit. Let's see what this little gem has to offer.
July 1969. The entire world watched as, for the first time in history, a human being stepped foot on the moon.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
You might remember learning about how significant this moment was for the human race. And after an accomplishment of this magnitude, the next logical step would be to continue exploring further and further into outer space.
Absolutely.
Right? Well, fast forward to present day, and it's currently been 52 years since we last set foot on the moon. Which begs the question, why haven't we gone back to the moon?
Because we never fucking went in the first place, you jackass.
I first heard about this in a clip I saw with Elon Musk. I'd always assumed that our technology was just evolving forever, so I needed to learn more. To be honest, I thought I'd find a simple answer and that I'd put together a quick video about it and move on. But I was wrong. I did find the answer, but it turned out that the story of how we got here was far more interesting. Let me show you. To start, let's roll back to September of 19...
Oh, come on, Sean. This guy is not another. Oh, Ryan, this is not another whole video of this shit face. Come on, they're short, and this guy's full of logical fallacies, man. Come on. It's just one right after another. But let's see if he does any better on the moon landing. Is this going to be excuses as to why we haven't gone? I think that's where it's going to go. Because I've already got the suspicion that this is one of those in the tank.
I'm going 80-20 on that. I'll take 80% that and 20% whatever else he's got.
Yeah. And I'll bet you we'll find something in the history of this, how, about, jabs and how good they are for you or something too. I'm going to look after this. We'll see.
1962, when President Kennedy made an announcement that would rewrite history.
We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
This speech was unbelievable. Only 20 years before this, plane travel became accessible to the average person. And it was only 20 years before that when cars took over America. This would be a huge advancement in technology. Kennedy was a visionary of his time, don't get me wrong. But even he knew that this was unrealistic. So why make the announcement? Did he want to create jobs, explore new industries, or advance civilization? No, This choice was made in defense.
All Russia's just wild about Yuri Gagarin, first man to conquer space. Modest, just a family man. It was no secret, either in Moscow or anywhere else, that Russia was ready to make the attempt.
Okay, so the Cold War angle. The Cold War angle, that the reason we did that is that
bankrupt Russia or something.
Yeah.
At 7 minutes past 7 a.m. our time, the 450-ton rocket went up.
You see, just 1 month before Kennedy's speech, the Soviets had sent the first human to space.
Now, how come that rocket took off like that? Real fast to send a guy up to space and ours go.
Well, he had to put one that actually looked real, right? Like, I'll give him credit for that. I mean,
well, there's old what was that guy's name? Shit.
There's so many, Dave.
No, he was the guy. He got all pissed off. Khrushchev. Yeah, Khrushchev.
At this time in the early 60s, the United States was deep in the middle of the worst part of the Cold War. The thought was, if Russia...
those kids getting under those desks was what they told us to do in case there was a nuclear bomb. Okay. And I was thinking,
had practices for it. Yes, I did. I did say that.
I'm sitting here going, have you seen a fucking nuclear bomb, man? This ain't going to do nothing. This is not going to help. Trust me.
I think it was more of an earthquake demonstration, but they just wanted to make us think that, a nuclear fallout would have been like that, but it wouldn't have.
It was to reaffirm in people's heads that this was real and they were taking concerned
to scare the crap
measures,
Yep.
for people.
They just want us to think we can destroy where we live. That's what they want us to think.
Russia could send a man to space, surely they could send a nuke to the United States. For Kennedy, landing on the moon wasn't about progress or science or innovation. No, it was about beating Russia to prove that a free society could develop better technology faster. Winning the space race.
See him dropping all that freedom on those Vietnamese. Yeah, a whole plane load of freedom.
Yeah, that napalm was in the morning was real fun.
Yeah, that was freedom. Good God.
Winning the Cold War. The Apollo space program started soon after in 1961. 34,000 NASA employees and over 300,000 contractors got to work, all trying to answer one question. How do we get a rocket to the moon? Well, applying the same logic as a plane, the fastest way would be to take off from Earth, fly over to the moon, and come back. But with space travel, you have to consider orbits, gravity, atmospheres, and the general dangers of outer space.
Use all of the Narnia bullshit that we've made up. We got to figure out a way to fake that. That's basically what he's saying.
Chronicles of Narnia.
Using the same logic as planes just doesn't make sense. It's not that simple. Thankfully, by 1961, NASA had figured out how to get to space. Kind of. Right before Kennedy's announcement, the Mercury program had experienced a major win. They had managed to send an astronaut to suborbital space just 1 month after the Soviets. Granted, it was only for 15 minutes, and that was just a tiny fraction of the distance to get to the moon. But the groundwork was there.
And he went up and came back down. Right on. Okay.
The more that NASA experimented, the faster they could get to the moon. In 1962, the US sent another astronaut to space, and this flight was a huge difference maker. Friendship 7 was a 5-hour mission that orbited the Earth, bringing the US dead even in the race against the Soviets.
Meanwhile, in Soviet Russia.
Now, back to the main question. How do we get to the moon? First, NASA needed to pick a pathway to get there, and they had 3 options. First, they could send a single rocket directly to the moon and back. But like we mentioned, this is simple in theory, but complicated.
See, this is the thing too, and they talk about that slingshot bullshit, right? I'm like, wait a second. I thought the damn thing don't weigh anything out in space.
I know a lot about slingshots, and that ain't gonna work, bro.
No, I mean, I put a thing on Facebook. They were selling that trajectory of the Apollo 11, and it's a big wall poster, and it shows how it went slingshotted off the moon and around it to land and around it to come back. And I swear to God, it's a big pecker poster. And if you look at it, it's what it is. Like somebody drew a big pecker on the wall with the balls and everything. And I put that as a comment because it was serious. It was like from some company that sells those. And I was like, dude, I said, that's a pecker poster on your wall, man. Look at it. Oh my God, it is. Yeah, no shit. That's because they're always doing this to you.
In reality. So it's out. With the second method, we'd send a rocket into Earth orbit. And from there, a smaller ship would carry on the rest of the way to the moon.
Yeah,
but this was slower.
Stopgap animation bullshit that they were doing with that. I mean, who the hell is believing that?
That's literally not even airbrush. That's just pencil work right there.
That's right here. But look at this
literally
thing right
like chalk and pencil.
This thing right here. Watch this move.
A smaller ship would carry on the rest of the way to the moon. But this was slower and riskier, so it was out too. That left us with one final option, called lunar orbit rendezvous. Here, they'd send a rocket to orbit the moon and send a smaller ship from there to land down on the moon's surface. Because of this choice, NASA was able to invent a new rocket, powerful enough to travel hundreds of thousands of miles. This rocket was called Saturn V, and it was designed to separate into 3 stages and get the ship up to 18,000 miles an hour. In fact, this was the original blueprint of the Apollo ship with the Saturn rocket attached. Above all of that, though, it finally gave the US an advantage over the Soviets. Over the next few years in the mid-60s, both countries had made huge advancements, from spacewalks to lunar probes. This was the closest the space race had ever been, but that was about to change. The US planned their first Apollo flight in 1967, designed to test the performance of the Apollo ship and Saturn rocket together. During a test on the ship's internal power before launch, there was an arc that caused a massive fire. It got out of control fast, and within just 5 minutes, all 3 of the astronauts died. And
which they were running pure oxygen, okay, which is like dangerous. Okay,
it's not dangerous. It's stupid dangerous, bro.
Yeah,
like you're talking about. It's kind of like throwing gasoline on a campfire, you know, like a lot of it, and then expecting everyone right in front of it not to get burned up. Yeah,
I truly believe that was a hit. That was an assassination.
It was deliberate. Yeah. Well, we don't know if anybody really died, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
He said, how are we going to get to the moon if we can't even communicate between 2 buildings?
Yeah. Well, that's always the question. Is like, you know, they claim that the president called the moon, right? Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't I can't get a good signal in my own backyard half the time.
Operator, I'd like to make a long distance call to the moon, please.
I kind of miss hard lines. At least they weren't staticky and they didn't cut out all the time.
No.
I mean, there is something to say for that, right?
Only when there were slashers around, then it was like, oh, the phone went dead. Shit. Let's go.
Right.
Just like that, the Soviets had another advantage. Or so they thought. 2 months later, the Soviet ship Soyuz 1 crashed into the ground, killing its pilot. Both of those disasters were terrible, but with them came massive lessons to help advance each space program. At this point, it was a roll of the dice for who would land on the moon first. The space race lasted all the way.
Look at the spacesuit. This is just dumb.
They're cloth, and I saw one in a museum the other day. I just went recently and saw one. I took pictures of it. It was in some like wax museum, and it looks like literally like paper thin cloth, like wool. It's what it looks like. It's ridiculously thin and just insanely silly looking. It looks like, you know, those hoses that you run from your dryer to the wall. It looks like those wrapped in cloth. That's what it basically looks like. It's really cheesy looking, bro. It's like, dude, I would not want to be in that suit when you took all the pressure out of the room. I would not want to.
No.
Way to the final seconds of the decade. But we do know how this ended, don't we? 8 years after Kennedy's announcement, the time had finally come. At 9:32 a.m. from the aptly named Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Apollo 11 lifted off.
2, 1, 0. All engine running.
Over 1 million people watched as these 3 astronauts took off. The first stage of the rocket sent the Apollo 11 ship 42 miles into the air within just 2.5 minutes. In that time, it burnt nearly 6 million pounds of fuel. Once it ran out, the first stage separated, engaging the second stage of the rocket, which carried the ship another 62 miles in just 6 minutes. Last but not least, the third stage sent the ship into orbit, surging their speed all the way past 17,000 miles an hour. They circled the Earth, waiting for the perfect time to send the ship towards the moon.
So wait a second. How do you change your trajectory when there's no medium to change your trajectory in? You can't use wing surfaces, and you're not going to... You heard those speeds, right? You heard those speeds. And a couple of little spray cans on the side of your fucking ship are not going to change that. Okay? This is ridiculous. How would you change your attitude, your pitch, your roll, any of that? How would you be able to do that? You wouldn't.
That time came just 5 hours after launch. Apollo 11 was on course for the moon. Over the next 3 days, they traveled 240,000 miles.
You see that? Watch this thing. Watch that thing. It's the dumbest shit thing. Watch this. Watch it.
Send the ship towards the moon. That time came just 5 hours after launch. Apollo 11 was on course for the moon. Over the next
this thing here, watch it rotate and stop, and then it goes like that. I'm like, what the fuck? How are they doing that even? Come on.
So robotic. You can tell it's plastered to the wall and they're running. It's so
well, it doesn't weigh anything. That's why it's easy to move. Well, then if it doesn't weigh anything, how in the fuck are you slingshotting off of anything?
Where's the little jets of air that's supposedly supposed to come out and right it?
Right. Well, that's just it. That little tiny whatever.
Where's the hole in the ground that they would have left in the moon, considering it was all mostly space dust, right?
Oh hell, we ain't even got to that.
It should have blown a big old hole in the ground, shouldn't it?
See, it's one thing. Now you got to understand, they were going at this tremendous speed, and then they pulled this thing was behind them. Okay, they're up here in the capsule in the front. This thing was in a thing behind them, right? So then what they had to do is have that thing so that it was they separated it and somehow spun the capsule around so that it would meet up and they could hook up to the airlock to the top hatch on the lander. Okay. Then after they got the astronauts in there somehow with their full suits on through that little hatch, they detached from the capsule and went down and landed on the lunar surface and jumped around and all that good shit. And then when they took off and the thing flew back up, okay, you got to keep in mind that capsule was still going that same speed. It's going like 18,000 miles an hour, 17,000 something miles an hour. It's fucking whipping ass, right? And this thing takes off from the lunar surface to meet up to that object and dock back to it, load the astronauts back into the capsule, and then jettison this thing. And I don't know if they know where it actually went, but it's just gone. Now that would be like me shooting a bullet out of the air. Think about that. That'd be like me trying to dock up with a bullet with another bullet. Well, it ain't even going as fast. So that thing's whipping ass by and you're going to what? Just smash into it? Or none of the shit makes any sense at all. None of it. So Andrew Johnson, oh, Newton's third law. Yeah, Newton's third law, my ass. Apply it to this monstrosity we just saw with the stopgap animation there, pal.
3 days, they traveled 240,000 miles, entering lunar orbit halfway through the day on July 19th. It was time to prepare for a landing. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong climbed into the lunar module called Eagle and detached from the main Columbia ship. And just 2 hours after detaching, Eagle began its descent.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Around the world, hundreds of millions of people watched in anticipation, waiting to watch the first man set foot on the moon. And at 10:39 p.m., Neil Armstrong opened the hatch door on the lunar module. First,
another thing with that footprint, you're not going to leave a footprint like that without moisture.
Yep. And gravity.
Sorry.
And gravity, right?
Yeah, gravity. But look, you're not going to leave a footprint like that without moisture. No ands, ifs, or buts about it.
Okay. Yeah, it would just be puffy and it would just float away, like just be dust that would float low to the ground. Yeah, that's what
it might be an outline, but you're not going to have those treads and all that shit in there. It requires moisture in order to do that, and apparently there's no way you could have moisture in an environment that is 10 to the negative 11 torr. Okay, that's just not going to happen. Another thing too is they said they put them rocks in these cases and sealed them outside, which means that the inside of those cases were 10 to the negative 11 torr as well. We can't even achieve that on Earth, right? And then they put those cases back in, put them into the lunar module with them, blasted off up there to the capsule, somehow docked up to it flawlessly, climbed inside, brought in the cases that they had procured these rocks and shit in that were still sealed. You want to tell me how in the hell they didn't just crush in? Especially when you got them back to Earth. How did they not crush in? Turn those rocks to powder. Sorry, man. See, it's the devil's in the details. Devil's in the details.
Absolutely.
They had to collect a bunch of soil and rock samples from the surface of the moon. They had to take a ton of photos and videos of everything that they saw. And third, they had to run a variety of tests and send that information back to mission control. And we can't forget the most important part. They planted a US flag on the moon.
That's the most important part. What does that mean? We claim the moon for the United States? I mean, usually, traditionally, that's what it means when you plant your flag someplace. If a bunch of sailors ended up on some land and put their flag down, that meant that they were, I claim this in the name of the Queen of Spain or whatever else, right?
Marking that the United States had officially won the space race. Over the next 3 years, the US went back to the moon 5 times with 12 total astronauts walking on the surface. But with all of that anticipation, all of that progression, and all of the excitement, why haven't we gone back to the moon?
Damn good question. And it's because we lost the technology and it's a painful process to build it back. That's got to be it.
The first moon landing was a significant moment in history. So you'd think that everyone around the country would be happy about this major win, and that they'd be thrilled it could lead to the end of the Cold War. But that's just not how everyone felt. The 60s were full of tensions all around the globe. Focusing more specifically on the US, civil rights and equality were at center stage. How could we be focused on getting people to the moon when we hadn't even figured out how to respect other human beings and their rights? Back in this time, there was a lot of segregation.
The fuck would that have to do with going to the moon or not?
He's just making it longer and making it more interesting, I guess.
Yeah, the 60s were a
Or
turbulent
he's trying to
time.
draw in a different crowd of people. I don't know. I'm not really sure why you would do that.
I don't know. The whole thing is that none of that would have any bearing on whether or not we continue going to the moon or not. It's because people are squabbling. Oh, okay. When have they not?
Ignoring that to beat the Soviets, a group of people across the globe felt like a major insult. But that wasn't it. As the Cold War heated up, many Americans didn't believe that the space race would even come close to securing a victory. Because shortly after Kennedy's famous announcement, the Cuban Missile Crisis brought the Cold War to its darkest days. In fact, there was a moment in that time when a single person prevented Russia from nuking the United States. Whether or not we made it to the moon, the Cold War would have continued. And last but not least, as a part of the Cold War, the US was getting more involved in Vietnam.
And it did continue, despite the fact that we had Russians go up and dock with Skylab. A lot of people forget all about that. And they had the Soyuz Apollo joint mission where they met and as a symbol of peace in space. And the Soyuz cosmonauts and the NASA astronauts all had their like they broke bread together and all that, and it was, you know, kumbaya and all that bullshit. But we were still in the Cold War, you know. It went on until the Berlin Wall came down, and then we just picked a different enemy is all. Now we're back to the same enemy again. Immigration time, come on. Yeah, right. We got some Haitians moving in around here now. It's immigration all throughout the year. They're eating cats and dogs and some park geese too. They gonna immigrate and move in next door to you. Come on now in. Oh, I know it's bad.
Next year they're gonna migrate too.
It's time we come together. I caught this goose. Come help remove the feathers.
At the time, the northern half of Vietnam was siding with the communist beliefs of the Soviets. The last thing the US needed was another country adopting Soviet beliefs, growing the number of enemies that they had around the world.
Actually, that's false, ZXL Master. They are not self-sufficient in terms of propellant, because even when we use like rocket candy, all kinds of other things, they still don't do anything, and they won't propel themselves in a vacuum. Only once the accelerant has caused there to be an atmos inside of the chamber will the rocket actually even respond to the ignition inside of it. So won't work, man. Have a hard time igniting shit in space. That's just the reality of it.
It's even hard enough turning on
All of
your
these
lighter
problems
in a cold
required
weather,
attention to get solved.
you know?
And more importantly, they required funding. That begged the question, why invest all this money into the potential of going to space instead of focusing on what really mattered? The Apollo program was originally given a budget of $8 billion back in the early 60s. But
I done blown through that now. You know, they're just wanting more all the time.
it ended up going severely over budget. In fact, it cost over $25 billion, 3 times the budget, which breaks down to over $250 billion in today's money. This wasn't about going to space or landing on the moon. It was about proving that America was better.
America, we're number one, right? We're the best. Come on, man. These people, I swear, it's just like I've said before, like with little elementary schools, you know, they're all in the same little district, you know, all the way up through high school. You got about 3 or 4 or 5 high schools in a city or whatever. They're all in the same school district, but they all believe that they're the best and the brightest and the best school of all. Every one of them. We're Bobcats, rah, rah, rah. We're better than that other team over there, and we're better than that other school. And it's shown that we're a higher score in our tests and everything. And it's like, you know, you're all in the same shitty little school district. There is no difference. And so with this thing of keeping the people all like, look, we're better than this country, and their country over there is telling them how much better they are than everybody else. I guarantee you, ask anybody in the world, go to where they're at and say, what's the best country in the world? They're going to tell you their country.
It's my country.
Yes.
But it still sucks.
Yeah, I know. They all suck. They do. They literally all suck. They're all control systems, man.
Yes,
and that's because they've convinced you that you're too stupid to
but they're
behave
still all
yourself.
special because we're living in them. So we have we have to do our share.
And ours is the worst. This is, oh my God. Oh, the common man can't govern himself. So we're going to choose from that whole group of people that can't govern themselves and select a couple of people to govern everybody. What? You just got those people that can't govern themselves and put them in charge of governing everybody else. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know, they don't make any sense. It's probably because the claim is wrong. It causes a lack of accountability. You can govern yourself. You know what's right or wrong. You know when you're fucking up. Control yourself. It's real simple.
Knowing that the Cold War didn't end for another 22 years, why didn't we ever try to go farther than the moon? When we first went to the moon, we really didn't understand much about it. On that first trip with Apollo 11, we learned that the surface of the moon was incredibly dusty. So much so that the dust actually filled the lunar module when the hatch door opened.
But was able to leave. No, we don't see a whole lot of dust going on. And why? What caused the dust to go in there? What caused the dust to go in there? When you open the hatch to the lunar thing, what should happen? There would be no inward flow of anything when you open that hatch. It'd be outward flow, right? And if it's also dusty and everything, how in the hell did you leave a perfectly formed footprint? Come on.
Because of that, the astronauts had to quarantine for 21 days when they finally got back to Earth in fear that they might have caught some sort of illness. And beyond that, going to the moon is incredibly dangerous. There's no atmosphere on the moon, meaning that temperatures range over 500 degrees throughout the day. This is obviously pretty hard to manage for anyone who ends up going there. So we decided that it just wasn't worth going to the moon anymore.
No, it wasn't worth it anymore.
That was it, obviously.
No, the military didn't see that as a possible weapons platform at all. No. And NASA, surely with their dreams of conquering outer space, would never, ever get the idea of using that as a staging point to launch all of their missions from. No, nobody in their right mind would do that. Come on, man. These people.
However, that doesn't mean that we stopped going to space. We went to the moon to prove a point about America and the technology that we had. But after that, our motivations for going to space changed significantly. Back in the 70s, space travel was still very regular, but the destination had changed. A big part of developing rockets comes down to research.
It's too dangerous to put people on the moon, so we're going to start building shit to send to Mars instead, because apparently that's not dangerous. Is this what I'm getting into? Is this what I'm starting to understand? Huh?
Process of going to the moon, there was a ton of unanswered questions about the rest of space, about the planets that surround us and the universe that exists beyond our solar system. You see, the moon is just a small piece of what exists beyond planet Earth. For us to travel to Mars and beyond, we first need to know.
Wait a second. Before we travel to Mars and beyond, you said it was too dangerous to even go to the fucking moon. Why are you sending anybody past it? Shouldn't you work on so that it's completely safe? I'm sure that, in the early pioneering days of airplanes, it wasn't considered really safe, and it wasn't until later that they developed commercial airplane travel, right? They perfected it. They got better at it, right? So you just stopped going to the moon because it's not worth it. It's too dangerous. What about the fixing all of the problems and all of the potential dangers and developing from there, standing on the shoulders of giants type thing, right? No. We're just, okay, well, that's too much. Let's go to the Mars instead.
More about the universe. And even though the space race was based on a competition against the Soviets, the shift over to exploration and discovery ended up creating a partnership between them.
ZXL Master, it still needs something to push off of. It still needs something to push off of. If there's nothing to push off of, it would just, even if it did burn, it would just sit there and blow fucking fire out the back. That's all it would do. That is thinking critically.
In fact, in 1998, the International Space Station launched into orbit as a partnership between the US, Russia, Japan, Canada, and most of Europe. And since the beginning of the ISS, we've learned a lot about outer space as a whole. But there was a downside to this. As our technology shifted, we lost the ability to get back to the moon. And the reason was simple. Every rocket is entirely different. Going to the moon is very different than just getting to Earth's orbit. And because over time, innovation slowed down in moon exploration, we've only been developing rockets to get to the space station for 40 years. So wait, you're trying to tell me that in the last 50 years, no one has tried to get back to the moon? Well, that's not really true. Back in 2005, NASA's new Constellation program had 3 main goals in advancing space exploration. Their first goal was to continue developing the International Space Station, and from there, they progress all the way to the moon.
But that's the whole thing. Why are you not doing that then? Why are you not doing that? I'll show a video here in a minute of a rocket in a vacuum that I have.
Yeah, Mars is much easier, right? Because the moon was hard.
Jesus.
The most important goal of the mission? Figuring out how to use the moon as a starting point for further space exploration. They had a few motivations for this program too, from advancing space travel to enhancing the amount of land that we've colonized. And the idea was that as climate change worsened, we would need other resources and planets to rely on. This mission was the start of the future of the human species. But here's the problem. In 2004, the project was granted a budget of a whopping $230 billion. Over the next 4 years, very little innovation was made, yet they still managed to come in severely over budget. So when President Obama took over in 2008, he initially stated that the project was behind schedule, over budget, and lacking in innovation. That meant that over the next few years, Obama shifted the focus of the program from going to the moon to doing more research on the International Space Station. And
so they shifted the budget to doing more research on the internet. How much does it cost to do research? What the fuck do they actually do up there? Besides chase each other around and
they grow lettuce,
somersaults and
they grow lettuce in space, remember?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't think of one fucking thing that's been a benefit to us down here on Earth that they've done with this thing.
Now wait, Dave, there is the space blanket. There's that space blanket.
Yeah, right. Like they couldn't have developed that without the space station or whatever. Come on. It's at this point, it's become absurd. You know, I mean, is that basically all you're doing up there? You're just up there doing what, somersaults and chasing each other around in gorilla suits and what, you know? Come on, y'all.
Well, they have to have fun. They've been up there for months.
No, they haven't. They haven't been anywhere except in your. They haven't been anywhere. They just put a bunch of fucking shit in their hair and, you know, oh, look at here. I'm just going to have this frizzy ass long hair that flies around all this electronic equipment and shit. You know, why not? Hell, we'll just
don't worry if static build up. No worries. We're only going 17,500 miles per hour. No worries.
Yeah, they're doing all these experiments up there. How much does it cost you to squirt some water out and play with it? Wow, that's good research. Good for you. Jesus. Children. It's for children. It is.
And as the funding got cut, the program ended up getting canceled. So it's not that we haven't tried to get back to the moon. It's just that we haven't done a good enough job of convincing the people in power that it's worth spending the money.
Wait a minute. You haven't been able to convince the people in power that it's worth spending the money? Who do you think it is that's in power? You think it's Obama? You think it's one of them cats? No, man. Listen, if there was an advantage to it, especially an advantage to using it to control you, You better damn straight believe that they would use it, that they would be there. You better damn straight believe it. If there was actually some resource there that was worth something, they would be there. But the reality of it is, it's not someplace you can go.
That is, until now. You see, there's something I haven't told you yet, and it's a game changer. You've probably heard about how we're going to establish a colony on Mars, or that we're trying to get back to the moon.
Well, motherfucker, they was telling us there was going to be a colony on the moon. It was going to be common commercial flights back and forth to the moon. By the time I was the age I am now, is what they were telling us. In fact, there was a show, a TV show set in the future called Space 1999. And the premise of that was that there was an already established base on the moon. People were flying back and forth all the time. And suddenly the moon broke away from the Earth and these people were trapped on it. And that was kind of like how they traveled through space, by being on this moon. It had broken away. But anyway, the whole point of what I'm saying is that this was set in 1999, that they'd already had, and it was pretty, not too much far advanced from the Apollo shit, the stuff that they had and the suits that they wore, a little bit more modernized from, showing that there was more technology and, that kind of thing. Now, I'm going to show you ZXL here in just a minute. When this video is over, I'm going to show you that it doesn't.
Bring him up here. So
what if I told you that it's literally going to happen next year? But hold on, we got to rewind a second here. Back in 2017, President Trump announced Space Policy Directive 1, which sounds boring, but it was actually super exciting and very pivotal in the future of space travel. This document paved the way for some huge milestones that have come in the last 7 years. Firstly, it set a goal to land humans on the moon by 2025 and explore Mars by 2030.
Okay, so 2025 is coming up. 2025 is coming up. What happened?
They've been saying that since 1987.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They keep kicking the can down the road. Here we are, tail end of 2024. And you're talking about going to go to the moon by 2025. Okay. 2030, 5 years from now, we're going to be going to Mars? No, I don't think so.
But more importantly than all of that, it facilitated private sector partnerships with companies like Blue Origin and SpaceX. Speaking of that, you've probably heard a lot about the billionaire space race that's been happening over the last few years. Jeff,
and I don't believe that either, because these are all agents of the establishment as well. You can't tell me that Bezos and Musk and these other clowns are not. And Virgin, who's that guy from Virgin? Like he's been knighted.
White-haired guy with the Q-tip head, yeah.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking. Branson. Is that his name? Branson? Richard Branson? Yeah,
something like that,
yeah. And his Virgin Galactic and all that. I bet you all these motherfuckers been to some Diddy parties, man.
Bezos, Elon Musk have all been competing to advance space travel. And they've been doing it on private funding. But of those people, Elon Musk has made huge advancements in space travel through SpaceX. Because
no, he hasn't really. I mean, we see him send shit up there and it smacks into something. Oh, he's blowing up. What was it? No, it doesn't blow up. It's a sudden, unscheduled disassembly. Yeah.
Because of this, and because of Trump's policy, SpaceX was granted a contract to build the lunar lander on the upcoming Artemis mission.
That right there is where I drew like, okay, this is all bullshit that you're seeing now. Okay, telling me you're gonna land that rocket like that, like in some 1950s sci-fi movie? No, I'm sorry, that's not happening, man. An object shaped like that, with where your thrust of force thing is at, there's no control surfaces on this thing at all. It would be top heavy. If any, I might be able to buy it a little better if the rockets were, I don't know, up higher somewhere at the middle of it or something like that. But no, I'm not buying this bullshit at all.
But hold on, what's Artemis? Well, this is where I gotta come clean. We've actually already sent a ship to the moon. The Artemis program is the moon landing portion of that space policy directive that Trump passed. And after 5 years of development, Artemis 1, an unmanned rocket, was sent to orbit the moon and returned to Earth in November of 2022. Because of that success, there's currently 2 more missions set to take off in the next couple years. Artemis 2, which was originally scheduled to launch this year, will send humans to orbit the moon and return back in 7 days. And then there's Artemis 3, which will send humans to land on the moon over a period of 30 days. If we can make this happen, this is going to be a massive step for the future of humanity.
How long ago was this? 7 months ago. I guess that didn't age well, because now they've kicked the can down the road again.
But beyond that, if all goes to plan over the next decade, we could have a fully established lunar outpost on the moon. And that outpost will be a huge key in helping us get to further destinations like Mars. So while we reminisce on the space race of the 60s, we're overlooking the fact that right now we're on that same trajectory. If there's one thing you should have taken away from this video, it's that we have a ton of motivations that eventually lead to progress. It could be power, it could be salvation, or more importantly, it can be innovation. In our lifetimes, people will land on other planets, but to prevent us losing progress,
ain't nobody ever gonna land on a damn planet. You're muted, Ryan.
I know. I was gonna say, sure they are.
I mean, that's just, there ain't nobody ever going to land on another planet. They got you believing that's something, that it's a place. It's not, man. You guys, it's really got your minds fucked. I can guarantee it.
we have to continuously advance technology forward. President Kennedy was a visionary, and he was one of the youngest presidents at the time. But now we have politicians in place that are 80 plus years old and don't understand present day innovation. If we want to move beyond the moon, if we want to go to Mars, if we want to go beyond that in space, we need politicians who support innovation and the furthering of technology.
So that's it. It just don't have the money. Just can't get the money. Well, why don't you quit fucking around with studio productions and actually put the money into trying to go, huh? That's what I would do.
It's not about power or advancing your worldviews. It's about innovating for the future, to give us a chance to live in a world where our dreams become reality. So I'll leave you with a question.
Okay, go ahead.
What could we achieve if we had just a little bit more imagination? Thanks for watching.
Well, that's it. Just a little bit more imagination. That's because that's all it is imagination. Okay? That's all it is. Imagination. Wow. So I said I was gonna show you a rocket in a vacuum. Let's see, and this is at 0.02 atmospheres. Let me stop this one. There we go. Okay, why is there not anything happening here? It's not working. What the hell? Let me try it again. Well, it's not even giving me no time on this thing or anything. It just tells me how much time is going by. Anyway, I don't know why that's not working. Maybe I got it. Maybe I have a functioning copy of it somewhere. Let me see. See, that's the only ones I got there. Let me see if it's maybe in here. Let's see. Rocket. Damn, I'll have. Oh wait. No, that's the one that showed. I think. Let's see.
What happened to Ryan?
I don't know, man. He rolled. Oh no, that's just a fucking thumbnail. I don't know where the hell that's at. I'll have to dig that out. There is maybe there's one on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it. Let me go here. No, not here. We'll go out of this guy's thing. Let's see. Rocket in a vacuum. Oops. Rocket in a vacuum chamber. Let's see. Might be able to find that same one. Oh, here it is. Right here. All right. Let me zip this up to. Oh. Yeah. One sec. Oh, Lord. I think this is it.
Let's try a little bit bigger syringe and see if we can do it without destroying the
Let me see.
little air in the chamber. There's nothing for the stream of gas to bump into, so it has a very straight flow with little turbulence. So if we were at this pressure in the sky, we wouldn't be able to use a traditional jet engine to provide thrust. We would have to use a rocket. Rocket's not...
Trying to see if he's got that on here, because it's not until when you watch it in slow-mo. I don't think this one does it in slow-mo. It doesn't.
Just going to put the flash paper inside the syringe, and then
you watch it at slow motion, and I'll have to dig that clip out where it slowed way down. You can see like a vapor coming out along with whatever the gases, and it's not until after it's already been ignited for quite some time, and it actually starts to hit the glass of the vacuum chamber that little syringe even moves. So you have to have some kind of a medium to move yourself. That's all there is to it. You can't move yourself without a medium. There's no
Just
way.
like the flies, when they show the one with the flies and they take all the air out of the container and the flies they just drop. And they don't kill them, but they keep it so low that they can hardly move and they can't fly.
Yeah.
And they turn it up and down and show how they keep flying around when they finally can, and how they turn it down, they fall down.
No, actually what it is, it's a syringe that's suspended by a thread, and it's in a vacuum chamber, ZXL. And when they ignite the shit inside the thing, inside the syringe, the gases come out of the tip of the syringe, making a jet, and it comes out. But it doesn't move until the gas has been expended out to where it reaches the field of containment, or the wall of the vacuum chamber. That's the only time it will move. Outside of that, they're not moving. Nobody's sending shit into space. You can't even get there if it was a place. And it's certainly not some vacuum or privation of matter. That's ridiculous. Nature abhors such a thing. So anyway, let me see. Maybe there's a different one. Let me see if I can find it anywhere. Probably won't be able to find that one on here on YouTube. I'll probably have to go into another venue. Let me see if this might be it.
Hello, everyone.
Let me zoom this up. Yeah, I think so. Right here.
Long time, and so this was a...
Here we go. Yeah. Found it. Let me bring this up. Ha ha ha, we've been successful. Where'd you go, Ryan? Somebody took his phone from him.
issue for a long time, and so this was a lot of fun to see. This is the clip from Level Earth Observer's video if you haven't seen it. It can't be more obvious. The makeshift rocket doesn't move until the gases hit the wall of the vacuum chamber. It needs something to push off of. As I was searching for the original source video, I found a similar one. Take a look. Again, the model rocket engine does not produce any movement until it has something to push off of. In this case, the gases emitted from the model rocket engine, which are hitting the rear wall of the chamber. Anyways, thanks for watching.
I gotta keep that one. That's the one I want. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let me grab my little downloader real quick. Paste that in there. Remind me later. Wait, what happened? I want that. I said copy, paste. There. Is it gonna do it? No. Wait, what the hell?
It's like, how are you gonna swim without the water? Try laying
Right,
down
right,
on the
right.
floor and swim ahead. Swim ahead, come on.
There it goes. Wow, I don't know why that was screwing up like that. Anyway, I got it. I'll have to save that one because that's it. Yeah, that's a good one. I had it in another but it's corrupted or something. I don't know. This one ought to be pretty good. Anyway, I think that's about all I've got tonight. I think I'm going to, like I said, I was going to call this out as a short one tonight, and we'll be back live again tomorrow at 9:35 Eastern, as well as what do we got going on Wednesday on the Jeranism channel. We've got Reefer Roulette will be going down. Join that one. It's at 7:20 Eastern time, 4:20 West Coast. And we have a game there where I think somebody won $75 in the last game. So, hey, give it a shot. Come on in. Have a lot of fun. Fire it up, bring some fish sticks, rubbers, and a getaway car. That's all you'll ever need, really. Right? All right. So, Disclord, you got anything you want to leave everybody with?
Sleep well or have a good day, whichever time it is over where you are.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Disclord. We'll see you next time. And remember out there, don't forget, the Lord loves the working man. Don't trust Whitey. See your doctor and get rid of his ass because he'll probably kill you. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Good night.
Peace.